The plot just thickens. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys know this is going to be a review about Samurai 8, Kishimoto's new manga, which is the writer of Naruto. Now, the last video that I did make about Samurai 8, I spoke about chapter 1. In this video, I'll be talking about chapter 2 and chapter 3. In chapter 2 and chapter 3, the first arc of Samurai 8 concluded. And not only that, at the end of chapter 3, they actually presented a very big plot twist, and we will talk about that later on in this video. But first things first, I do want to recap what happened in chapter 2 and chapter 3 very slightly. Now, in chapter 2, Hachimaru met his first friend. When Hachimaru turned into a samurai, he went to sleep, and as soon as he woke up, he wanted to actually go around the block because it would be the first time that Hachimaru went outside. Now, once Hachimaru went outside, he started to fly on his key holder, and it turns out that he fell into a house. He ended up surviving because, of course, he's a samurai, and I'm guessing that makes him completely overpowered. But once Hachimaru fell into a house, he met his first friend. Now, his first friend is called Nameless. First things first, he doesn't have a name, and also we don't know if it's a male or a female. Here's the thing about Nameless. Nameless was supposedly abandoned at a very young age, and because he doesn't know his name, he doesn't know if he's a man or a woman. Now, Nameless speaks to his hand, like audibly. Hachimaru even hears Nameless's hand speaking as well. Nameless's hand says that Nameless has the body of a boy, but a mind of a woman. So from now on, we'll be using the correct pronouns for Nameless, she. Now, as soon as I saw Nameless, I automatically thought that Nameless was going to be right by Hachimaru's side for the rest of the whole manga, for the rest of the anime, just like how Vegeta is by Goku's side, and just like how Sasuke was almost always by Naruto's side. But of course, we know that they have that love-hate relationship, and they're pretty much damn near brothers at this point. It seemed like Hachimaru and Nameless had very similar backstories. Hachimaru never got to leave his room, and also Nameless never left her room as well, mainly because she was too scared to leave. And it's not only the fact that they didn't leave their rooms, it's also the fact that they played this virtual reality samurai game, and they were both extremely good at it. Hachimaru turned out to be #1 in the world, and also Nameless turned out to be #2 in the world. And of course, because they're so good at this video game, their actual real life abilities were extremely sky high. Nameless lives in a dorm, and she's surrounded by a school of warriors. Nameless is also supposed to be a warrior, but she just never goes to class. So because Nameless is supposed to be a warrior, she also has swords as well. Now, the main villain of this arc, which I'm gonna call him Pig's goal was actually to find a samurai jewel in the school of warriors. Pig and the rest of his team actually told each other to watch out for the wolf samurai. Now, it seemed like it did cut to the wolf samurai, and we actually did see the wolf samurai. The only thing that we did get from the wolf samurai is the fact that his katana or his sword has like an iPhone fingerprint reader, where it's like if his hand isn't on the sword just won't come out of his holster. The person that tried to take the samurai sword out of his holster was completely taken back because of this. It looks like that right there isn't very common with all the other swords out there, but Nameless has the same fingerprint reader on her sword as well, and that became a huge problem when the Pig did actually attack the school. Now, once the Pig actually did attack the school, it seemed like he confronted Hachimaru and Nameless. At that time, it seemed like Nameless was a little bit jealous because Hachimaru was talking to other people, but Hachimaru mistakenly left his sword at Nameless's house and taken Nameless's sword instead. Now, once Hachimaru tried to draw the sword, as I said, the fingerprint reader basically said denied, and then the sword would not pull out. Now, at the last second, when Hachimaru and Nameless are about to get blown to bits from a cannon, Nameless runs to Hachimaru and puts her hand on the sword along with Hachimaru's hand as well, and they both cut the cannon. And after they cut the cannon, it was like completely over. They both split the ship completely in half, and just that one swipe of a sword completely destroyed Pig. Now, at the end of chapter 3, it was a little bit confusing to a lot of us, mainly because Nameless did not want to go with Hachimaru. Nameless just did not want to go on adventures with Hachimaru. Now, there is an inkling that Nameless has a crush on Hachimaru. I'm guessing Nameless was trying to tell Hachimaru, but of course, classical shonen main character, he didn't really get the hints. Nameless was saying that she didn't want to be friends with Hachimaru, and also instead of cutting tanks, she'd rather cut cakes with Hachimaru. But I mean, like at that point, everything I was reading was going in one ear and out the other. It's like, so this is not going to be another Sasuke? But at the end of the chapter, here's where the plot twist comes. There's a possibility that Hachimaru's father might not actually be his actual father. Now, as we know, Hachimaru's outside of the house. He's basically exploring everything, and of course he met his first friend. But back at the house, there's the original samurai that Hachimaru did meet, and there's also his father. Now, the original samurai that Hachimaru did meet had a couple of questions for Hachimaru's quote-unquote father. First things first is that Hachimaru's sword sword was an actual samurai sword, like it could only be wielded by a samurai, and supposedly Hachimaru had the sword even before he was an actual samurai. So that right there was very confusing. So from that point on right there, we kind of understood that Hachimaru's father probably had the idea that Hachimaru was going to eventually become a samurai. And not only that, the samurai said that Hachimaru had a very special samurai soul as well. He called it extraordinary. Now, Hachimaru's dad didn't really answer to all of these questions, but now the samurai that was questioning Hachimaru's dad, he basically drew his sword from out of his arm. Now, once he did that, Hachimaru's dad didn't flinch at all. And of course, the samurai expected that he would not flinch at all. And that was very interesting because even before, when Hachimaru's dad in chapter 1 was being held hostage, it's like he wasn't worried at all. The only thing that he was really worried about was the fact that Hachimaru himself was going to figure out that he was actually a samurai. Now, this begs the question, is this actually Hachimaru's dad? Or is this someone that's pretty much trying to leech off of the samurai powers of Hachimaru? And of course, did this person actually take Hachimaru from his actual family? Because as of right now, we don't know where Hachimaru's mom is. We don't know if this guy has a wife. We don't know anything about this guy. So supposedly, this right here is going to be something very huge going forward or moving forward in the next couple of chapters. Because of course, if this is going to be a huge plot twist at the beginning of Samurai 8, it's pretty much going to shape the rest of the whole manga and the whole anime, the whole franchise, and the whole series. So I'm really hoping there's going to be something very interesting. Of course, I really can't wait to figure out what you guys have to think about this, and of course see the other chapters in the future. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. It's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.
Check my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm at your sexual, no high cholesterol. Where's Jenny Craig? Bitch, just get sexual.